Borowitz.
Thank you very much, and ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, let's have a warm round of applause for all the nominees for the 2009 National Book Awards. Come on. Oh, we can do much better than that. Yes. I believe it was George Bernard Shaw who wrote, "What a clusterfuck." And I think that really sums it up very well. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got to tell you, when I first heard that the National Book Awards wanted me to host this evening, I was like, I would be so honored. I would do it for free. And it turned out they had the exact same idea. But I think that's in the spirit of the evening, because that's what publishing is all about. A lot of hard work and then nothing. So let's hear it for publishing. We're all on this sinking ship together. Yes. Now, I have to confess, and this is true, that when that letter came in the mail that said National Book Awards on it, there was a moment where I thought to myself, finally, this is my year. I'm finally being recognized for my contribution to literature. I love that word, literature. It means the same thing as literature, only on Charlie Rose. Literature, I love that. And, this wasn't beyond the realm of possibility, because I do, in fact, have a book out this year. It's called Who Moved My Soap? The CEO's Guide to Surviving in Prison. The Bernie Madoff edition. Actually, C-SPAN, if you'd come in a little closer, you'll see that this is $9.95 at Barnes & Noble. But anyway, I thought, this isn't like a typical National Book Awards type book. But, maybe this year the judges were going to be, I don't know, a little imaginative, think outside the box. I mean, they can't give it to Philip Roth every year, right? So then I opened the envelope and I saw that, in fact, they were asking me to host the awards. And you know what? I was like, that's cool. That's cool, too, because it is an honor. It's a big honor. And it's also probably good for my career, because on the next edition of Who Moved My Soap, it'll say, from the National Book Award hosting writer. And that's awesome. No one knows what that means. It's like national bestseller. Nobody checks to find out. That means you were a bestseller for 1 week in Akron. No one checks. But, as I read this letter from the National Book Foundation, it did start to rankle a little bit, because I realized, when it comes down to it, I was being asked to come here to give an award that I really could have won to other writers who were deemed more deserving. I mean, that is the situation tonight. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. That's what's going on. And this brought back bad memories of something that happened a couple of years ago, where I got a letter in the mail from the MacArthur Foundation, the Genius Grant people, and I was really excited. I opened that letter up, and I found out that the MacArthur people wanted me to nominate someone else to be a genius. Now, there was a moment where I thought to myself, well, the man who is chosen to choose other geniuses, that must be the greatest genius of all. But even my powers of rationalization, which I've got to say are awesome, couldn't really make that work. It was really kind of a bummer. Now, I mentioned Philip Roth before. He, in addition to winning the National Book Award, has won the Pulitzer Prize. I received a letter this year from the Pulitzer Committee informing me that I was not eligible for a Pulitzer Prize. Now, I don't know if you're beginning to see a theme developing here, but, for the writers in the audience, you probably figured it out, because you guys deal with themes every day in your work. But for the agents, let me bring you up to speed for a minute. The theme here is disrespect. Yes. In the world of literature, I am not respected at all. And you know what? I don't take it personally. I know it's not a comment on my talent. It couldn't be. Couldn't be a comment on that. I think it's a comment on the genre that I write in. Do you know what the word genre means? Okay, because if you don't, this is going to be a long evening. I write in the comedy genre, and that, as genres go, is not taken seriously, which makes sense because comedians, we're supposed to make people laugh. But I thought, I need to reinvent myself. I got to write in a different genre so I can start racking up some of those prizes. Really need a game changer. So I thought, who in publishing is more respected than anybody? And I thought, well, Malcolm Gladwell. When you walk into Barnes & Noble, there is an entire Malcolm Gladwell section with all those cute little white books of his. And I just thought, well, maybe I'll sit down and write like a Malcolm Gladwell type book. So I started writing a book called Do, Why Some People Do Some Things and Other People Do Other Things. You like that? I just felt my Amazon number go up on that. But as I was writing, I was saying, wait a minute, some comedians are taken seriously, like Steve Martin is taken very seriously. What did he do? And then I realized he wrote a novel. He wrote that novel, Shop Girl. I could do that. I could be a novelist. And boy, that's a growth industry if ever there was one. I mean, it's like novelist, blacksmith. It's like a great thing to be in. So I told my agent, Mort Janklo, is Mort here tonight? This is a true story. I said to Mort, I'm writing a novel, and he got very excited, and he gave me a good piece of advice. He said, you have got to grab them by the cojones in that first line of your novel. You've got to get their attention and make them keep reading, because if you don't with that first line, you've lost them. Now, this was a very powerful piece of advice, because this sent me into a spiraling case of writer's block that I've had for the last year, because I've just been sitting down trying to write and rewrite the first line of my novel. And I thought, since tonight I have the brain trust of American literature in one room, I could maybe try out some of the lines I've been writing for my novel, and you could help me decide. Are you up for that? Can we do that? Okay. Okay, so picture yourself opening your book or your Kindle or what's that thing Barnes & Noble's got, the Nookie, and just you're reading the first line of a novel by Andy Borowitz. Okay, here we go. Here's the first one. There were better times, there were worser times. Okay. You've made your opinion quite clear. Thank you. Okay, here's another one. Then we're in agreement, gentlemen, he said, his eyes darting from one conspirator to another. Betsy Ross must die. All right. It's going to be kind of a historical story there. Okay, here's another one. I like this one. She walked across the room towards him, letting her red satin dress fall to the floor, and suddenly, there they were, her boobies. Now, you see, that's sexy. I'm sorry. People say it's so hard to write a sex scene, and I don't get it. It's just like da-da-da-da-da-da, boobies, and you're in. Okay, here's another one. There were better times and worser times, all wrapped up together in one big package of times. I think that's getting closer. I can feel that one. Okay, here's another one. We were a ragtag team at best, with just a map of a prison and a rusty shovel, but we were bound together by a common goal, to free O.J. Simpson. Okay, I like that because it gets the reader on your side right at the beginning. Here's another one. When I was 14 years old, I fell in love with the girl next door, Mary Margaret McGee, and I've been stalking her ever since. A lot of stalkers here tonight. Interesting. I wouldn't have expected that. Just 3 more, folks.